Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu Rasulullah wa ba'd, in the name of Allah, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon his last and final messenger. As to what follows, family, friends, foes, haters, and hateettes, welcome back to the Feachaz. I greet you all in peace and love and no hatred in my heart. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So before we begin, please like, please subscribe, and please share. As you know, we got a lot of haters up in here. Now, today's topic, the reason why I chose this particular topic, because now 'tis the season where you are going to find a lot of your Islamic organizations and others asking for donations and charity. And something recently happened, a major thing happened right now, a big scandal again, right, with BLM, Black Lives Matter, and the leaders of BLM purchasing a mansion with the funds that was donated to BLM, the BLM organization. And I'm going to tie all of this in to, the basic premise of my argument here, and how we should navigate all of these so-called charities. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to say is that charities in general, yes, they're charities, but they can't actually operate without a profit type model in them. So most charities, they're going to have people who are on the payroll, and even in a zakat system, and the zakat system, one of the people who can actually receive zakat are the people going out collecting the zakat. Okay, so this is not unusual, right? We're not basically trying to discourage people from giving in charity. However, what seems to be happening, particularly in the Muslim community, is that there is a hell of a lot of begging going on, and not much of ta'awun ala birr wa taqwa. Okay, all these charities seem to be fragmented and all over the place, and essentially running around doing all kinds of different things. When if these organizations kind of got organized and conglomerated, then the resources can be used more efficiently. And on top of that, you'd be able to weed out the scammers and whatnot, and people who are profiteering off the suffering of Muslims. Like, this happens all the time. Back when Syria was getting bombed out, we found that these organizations would just pop up, and people would donate money on GoFundMe and whatnot, and they wouldn't be charitable organizations at all. We've seen this as well with the Freedom Convoy, where people were profiteering off the Freedom Convoy. The truckers had literally nothing to do with the Freedom Convoy. No truckers were involved in organizing and collecting funds for the Freedom Convoy. And on top of that, people who did get arrested did not receive what they were promised, which was legal help and these type of things. These, you know what I mean, from all the money that was collected. So likewise, what we have a situation every Ramadan, and it's getting worse and worse and worse, where we have all these organizations just popping up, asking the Muslims for money. And Muslims, are generally generous. You know what I mean? They're pulling on your heartstrings and whatnot, and they get it. They just get money from here, there. You know what I'm saying, right? And we already talked about, when with those of you who are my day ones, we talked about specific organizations that every single year they're asking for $12,000 to fix their furnace. And when COVID hit, COVID cut into the funds of the dawah. These people play games, okay? So we're doing this video not to discourage from the giving, but having more of a vetting process for those people who are asking for charity. So first, let me read from this article. Like, subscribe, share, hit me up on Patreon. 1 second here. Where is it here? There we go. Okay, so this is the article right here. Okay, it's from the Intelligencer. Okay, and it reads: on a sunny day last spring, 3 leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement, Patrisse Cullors, Alicia Garza, and Melina Abdullah, sat around a table on the patio of an expensive house in Southern California. The women were recording a YouTube video to mark the first anniversary of George Floyd's murder, and they discussed their racial justice work and difficulties they had faced over the years. For me, the hardest moments have been the right-wing media machine just leveraging literally all its weight against me, against our movement, and against BLM, the BLM organization, Cullors said. Okay, so now she's talking about the left-right paradigm, and we're going to get into that. I'm some weeks out now from a lot of the noise, so I have more perspective, right? While I was in it, I was in survival mode. She was referring to the April 2021 article in the New York Post that revealed her purchase of 4 homes for nearly $3 million. The disclosures had contributed to the idea that there is a distribution gap between the fortunes of the movement's most visible figures on the ground, activists across the country, and Cullors resigned as executive director of Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation on May 27th, within a few days of the patio chat. Okay? I think they've attempted to cancel us, but they have not been successful in canceling us, Abdullah said at another point in the conversation. They've attempted to say, and I'm just going to say it, she bought some damn houses, we're going to cancel her. Garza cut in and the comment seemingly addressed to critics. Y'all don't know about what it takes to live in a box here. Okay, none of the women acknowledged that the house behind them, it's far from a box with more than 6,500 square feet and more than a half dozen bedrooms and bathrooms, several fireplaces, soundstage, a pool, a bungalow, and parking for more than 20 cars, according to the real estate listings. The California property was purchased for nearly $6 million in cash in October 2020 with the money that had been donated from to BLM GNF. Okay, so BLM, Black Lives Matter, go and fund me, right? Or whatever. So, anyways, you can. What I'll do is I'll probably copy the link and put it in the description, right? So, anyways, you can see that the whatchamacallit, the reporter here is alleging that Black Lives Matter, they took $6 million out of the funds of Black Lives Matter, the organization, to purchase homes. Okay, so now we have 3 homes worth $3 million and now the $6 million house. You understand? So, and we've talked about the left-right paradigm. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna see, because they're alleging that it's the Republicans, right, that are making them look bad. That's the allegation. Okay, it's just the Republicans trying to make them look bad. So we're gonna have a look and see if that's the case. Okay, give me a few moments here. Okay, let's check this out.
Black Lives Matter under more scrutiny over how it's spending donors' money, as a new report claims Black Lives Matter leaders used $6 million in donations to buy a massive, beautiful California mansion. Fox News contributor and civil rights attorney Leo Terrell joins us right now from Los Angeles. Leo, good morning to you.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing okay, but I'm scratching my head. You know, after the summer of 2020, we'd heard that Black Lives Matter took in, I think, $90 million, and we wondered what they were going to spend the money on. Now we know they spent $6 million on a mansion for themselves.
Yes, Steve, living like the rich and famous. You know, Steve, I'll be very honest with you. $90 million. They basically use Black Americans for profit. Steve, ever since the George Floyd death, Black Lives Matter has profited from the George Floyd death. What have they done for the Black community? Where are the community centers? Where is the improvement in education? They use this money for personal gain. And you look at that house does not help Black Americans. It is basically blood money, Steve, and it's sickening and it's embarrassing. Black people were exploited. Black Americans were exploited by Black Lives Matter for the personal gain of a few.
Well, take us back, Leo. How did they wind up getting these millions and millions of dollars? I know big corporations gave millions of dollars. Why?
Why? It is a classic shakedown. Steve, everyone remembers the George Floyd death, a horrific murder.
Yep.
Let's be very clear. Black Lives Matter exploited that. Black Lives Matter, the NBA, all these major corporations, they wanted to be on the so-called right side of justice. They were on the wrong side, because what have Black Lives Matter, what have these social groups done other than exploit, shook down corporations for personal gain, Steve? The Black community has not benefited from the $90 million. There's a state investigation into Black Lives Matter in California. That beautiful home does not benefit Black Americans. It doesn't benefit Americans at all.
Okay, so just to be clear, Leo Terrell, this Negro right here, he's white folks, Black folks, okay? He is white supremacy and blackface. Let's just be crystal clear. And he's embellishing a bit, of course, right? He's just pouring it on, calling it a shakedown. It is absolutely not a shakedown, of course not. However, the misappropriation of funds is real, okay? In the Black community and in the Muslim community. That stuff is real, okay? And on top of that, what he is saying about what has Black Lives Matter done for the Black community, this is 100% true. Even though he himself, he is white folks, Black folk, House Negro extraordinaire, right? That point right there, it needs to be addressed. So now we're going to go to the opposite side of the spectrum, on the left-leaning spectrum, and we're going to check out one of our favorite shucker and drivers, Uncle Roro, Roland Martin. So just give me a second to cue this up. Okay. Let's do this.
Says Black Lives Matter secretly bought a $6 million house. Allies and critics alike have questioned whether the organization's money has gone. It's written by a Sean Campbell. In the article, they talk about this particular home, and they say how it was purchased, and all those different things along those lines. And so the 6,500 square foot home, more than a half dozen bedrooms, bathrooms, several fireplaces, a sound stage, a pool, and a bungalow, and parking for more than 20 people. It was purchased for nearly $6 million in cash in October 2020 with money that had been donated to Black Lives Matter GNF, the Global Network Foundation. Now, one of the things that conservative media has been focused on, and you've had a lot of back and forth, a lot of attacks.
There's that left-right paradigm again, the conservative media. You see what they're doing? All right, so anyways, let's go.
Things going on, people demanding where did the money go, questioning things along those lines. Well, Patrice Cullors actually responded. She posted this on her Instagram page. So I want to read this. She said, yesterday's article in New York Magazine is a despicable abuse of a platform that's intended to provide truthful information to the public. Journalism is supposed to mitigate harm and inform our communities. That fact that a reputable publication would allow a reporter with a proven and very public bias against me and other Black leaders to write a piece filled with misinformation, innuendo, and incendiary opinions is disheartening and unacceptable. To clarify again, the property the reporter addressed was purchased in 2020 as a space where those within the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation and broader movement community could work, create content, host meetings, and foster creativity.
Stop the
Although
cap.
I cannot speak to how BLM GNF uses the property currently, as I left the organization last year in May, it was purchased to be a safe space for Black people in the community. The reason it wasn't announced prior is not nefarious as the headline infers. The property needed repairs and renovation. I do not own the property. I have never lived there and made that clear to the reporter. I want to be clear. While I will always see myself as a part of the BLM community, I am no longer in leadership and I am not a part of any decision-making processes within the foundation. I have never misappropriated funds, and it pains me that so many people have accepted that narrative without the presence of tangible truth or facts. Nevertheless, this will soon be made clear upon the release of the BLM 990s. To those within our movement and others who have looked to me for leadership, I'm sorry you have consistently had to engage with this kind of hateful and erroneous content. I admittedly have not always responded, and I know my silence has contributed to doubt. I apologize if it has caused you harm or of any kind, but I'm asking you all to understand the enormous pressure and fear that comes with living under the constant threat of white supremacist terror and real threats on my life and those of people I love. But I'm no.
Okay, that's enough. Okay. First of all, we got to be very clear. Black Lives Matter is not a Black organization. It is an organization which caters to the LGBTQ community. If you're talking about the organization, we're not talking about the grassroots people who are basically using the Black Lives Matter slogan to draw attention to police brutality. If you're talking about the organization, that organization is an LGBTQ organization, according to them. It is a matriarchal organization that caters to mostly Black trans people on their own website. Okay, so let's be very clear here. The second point is this left-right paradigm that you find between these types of organizations that fight each other. You understand? This has actually trickled down into the Muslim community, where you find Muslims now taking sides based upon this left-right paradigm. So you don't know who's telling the truth, who's not telling the truth, who you can donate to, who you can't donate to. But the only question that you need to be asking is, where is your resume? Where is your body of work? Before you start giving your money to these organizations, because you're going to see a hell of a lot of them asking for money, like they do every single Ramadan, you need to do your due diligence and ask them, where is your body of work? What have you done? What have you contributed to the community? Because if you don't have any body of work, then why are you even thinking about giving them organization or thinking that giving that organization any money? You have organizations now who are using Allah's name in order to usurp the money from the community and give absolutely nothing back to the community. Like Black Lives Matter. I could have mentioned some Muslim organizations, okay? However, because it's Ramadan, I'm going to hold it down, right? But if for my day ones, you know exactly who I'm talking about. For my day ones, the ones who have been here on the features from day one, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Those people, wherever Ramadan comes, they're very happy and willing to take your money and give absolutely nothing back to the community. People who have used money from donations to finance their educations and their cost of living and purchasing vehicles and all kinds of stuff in the Muslim community. So these arbitrary types of asking for donations, particularly for masajid. Okay. Who remembers the let's build the biggest mosque in New York? Who remembers that? You have all these Islamic organizations in the West, so many of them, and you have, and we put it out where every other community is increasing in the number of masajid that they can build, except for the black community. The black community is the only one that is decreasing. But now we need the global community, the wider global community, to help donate money to build the biggest mosque in New York City. This is how we're doing it now. So, in terms of charity and the entire system of charity in terms of the West, right? Why does the government, particularly the Western governments, why do they, give tax write-offs to charities, so that in order to encourage them to actually build a charity? They do this because they know that the local community is better equipped to handle their local issues better than the government can. So they're more than willing to help the local communities help with their local issues. But now what's happening, because of the rise of internet and whatnot, these organizations have become global. And it's become a begging fest. So what we need to do, brothers and sisters, before you donate to your next charitable organization, make sure you vet them thoroughly. Particularly those ones who are advertising all over the place. You know, if they do not have like a set end goal to the amount of funds they're trying to achieve in order to achieve a certain type of thing, then don't even bother, right? A lot of the smaller type charitable things, like if you want to build a well in Africa or whatever, these are set goals, right? Even one person can give enough money, right, to fund a building of a well. These are generally, okay, but you have to vet them first. And Ramadan is here. So don't just be, running around, giving your money all willy-nilly, where we know there are many people in the West, many people in the West who can actually use some sadaqah. They can use some help. And furthermore, the begging culture in the Muslim communities in 2022, it needs to be toned down. This begging culture, this type of, we need money for our mosque and these type of things. Like, you're talking about sucking the community dry to build buildings and institutions so that the Muslims can have an institution they're not even going to attend anyway, because the imam is an employee of your institution and he's not free to speak anything on his mind. So the youth now are getting chased away from your institution because your khatibs, I'm very sorry to say, especially modern khatibs, are just boring. They're boring. I'm sorry to say it like that. Because they are restricted in what they can say, because they are employees. So they go on in a Jummah Khutbah and they're giving you the fiqh of rubbing between your fingers and wudu and stuff like that, and a whole Jummah Khutbah like that. When the youth are being bombarded with doubts on social media and school and whatnot, and there's so many subjects to tackle, but the imam, he's not allowed to talk about LGBTQ on the minbar. You know what I mean? He's not allowed, because the charity will lose their charitable status. You get me? You understand what I'm saying? That's where the connection is. That's why your imams are being handcuffed. So you have to vet correctly and look for those organizations who actually have a body of work. Okay, ikhwan wa akhwat. I'm going to leave it short today because I know it's Ramadan and most of you are going to be breaking your fast in about an hour. Well, you can start to the right? But make sure that you like, subscribe, share this particular video. And also, when you're giving your money, you vet first. You ask first. You ask questions first. Who are you? Right? Where is your body of work? What are you doing in the community? Don't just give your money willy-nilly. Okay? Jazakumullah khair. May Allah reward you. May Allah bless you all. May Allah reward everybody who participated in the live today. Hayakumullah. And please like, please subscribe, please share. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanaka bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.